Hi guys, this is Richard. I'm not calling from Ryden's room today because I'm actually outside in my shed doing my evening check on the ferrets. Me and my wife got a couple of ferrets as well as the dog, and I just seem to be the one to check them in the evening while she does the morning, which is great. For help get me back into reading about over a year ago. We had a conservatory in an old place, kept them in there, let them out with us when we were inside, and yeah, I quite like it in here. So, as you can clearly see, okay, ignore that. But as you can see, none of my usual Star Wars merchandise or anything, but got the shed, ferret, exit from the shed there. Ferrets will soon be out, I'm sure. We just went outside as they've got little tubes getting them out in and out, which is great. So I don't use inside of a toilet, but if we ever open this up and let them just run around all day, I'm sure they quickly pick a corner. They try enough when we're not looking, but they're well trained for ferrets. But anyway, back to the point of the video. So my review for New Jedi Order Book 3. Okay, apologise for the bad angles. This would be a lot better with my laptop, with a laptop. But this is Dark Tide 2 Part 2 Ruin, Michael A. Stackpole. Oh, and here are the ferrets. Here's the first one. Hello, Quill. Say hello. Yeah, named Quill and Rocket because named after a couple of Marvel characters. So Rocket is the browner ferret. When he shows up, you'll see. He'll be here in a moment. He's just currently hiding in his usual place. But yeah, Rocket, and we just wanted a cool name. And yeah, Quill, as Thor says. Quill, not Peter or Captain, anything like that. Just Quill, and it seemed like a good name, like Quill, like quills on a porcupine. And yeah, it seemed to have a good feel to it. Quill and Rocket. If we got more, I don't know, Drax, if we had particularly like destructive ferret perhaps, or Nebula if we get one that's more of a, I don't know, blue ferrets but bluer tinged or whatever. But yeah, there he is again. Yeah, you have to sniff around. Yeah, they're good ferrets, nice to chew you, but they're not completely tame. Ferrets never will be. So yeah, while I'm in with them today, I'll just do this video here. So yeah, Dark Tide 2 Ruin, Part 2 of Dark Tide 1, Michael A. Stackpole. Awesome writer. Absolutely love. Oh, here he comes. They do love my books. I get a picture of them chewing on, well, sniffing up. I'm sure I would like to chewed on one of my Warhammer books a while ago. But yeah, you can't have that, Rocket. You can have the Doctor Who books. That's a library one, and that can get a bit more damaged. But yes, so back to this. So yeah, New Jedi Order Book 3 or Book 2 Part 2. Get Michael A. Stackpole, Rogue Squadron writer, absolutely great. Continues the love story around quite nicely. Like before, which he did with the last X-Wing book, the last Rogue Squadron one, dealing with characters introduced in likes of Jedi Academy, Heir to the Empire, had all these new characters. Again, he brings them in. There's so many by this point. This is 21 years after Battle of Yavin, so was that 21 years after the second Death Star's destruction, I believe. Yeah, that's right, because 5 years after that is when the Jedi Twins are born. It's where, of course, in the Disney universe, it's where Mandalorian and Book of Boba Fett are taking place. So 5 years later, Spot is pretty cool. But yeah, so he's, like I said, he's got to deal with all these like new characters, but again, great job doing it. So like I didn't mention in the last video, that at the very end, Wedge and Taicho showed up, which was extremely cool. Sadly, Taicho doesn't do much at all in this book, but hopefully in future, whereas Wedge does. They're not like the leaders of Rogue Squadron anymore. But no, they're obviously there for their help, which the entire galaxy is going to burn if they don't do anything to stop the Yuuzhan Vong. So yeah, they're here, which is great. It was nice to see them. And yeah, Wedge is... Sorry, before I go any further, I should say quite a bit, but I better put the spoiler warning up now. I reference Jedi Academy, Rogue Squadron, and Heir to the Empire as well. And now the New Jedi Order, and then of course pretty much anything Legends/EU up to this point. I haven't read any further than that book, even though I've got all of them in Legacy of the Force ready to read. But again, spoiler warning over. But yeah, one of the characters I was interested in, and seeing what happened to her, was Wedge's, one Wedge had a relationship with. I think it's pronounced Hui Zux, Zhu. She's the one from she was the scientist in that Moore installation that effectively built the Suncrusher and had the Death Star prototype, and she wasn't a bad person, but she clearly did not realise what it was going to be used for. She thought they'd use them to just blow apart dead planets just to mine the minerals. Yeah, it's probably sold like that, but I remember reading like, did you really not think it could be used for the worst thing possible? But yeah, she appeared. I did wonder if her and Wedge were a couple, because Kip wiped her memory in Jedi Academy, but she managed to recover it. Sadly, no, her and Wedge weren't a couple. Again, great nod to the Hand of Thrawn Duology, the place that Luke and Mara went to, where they realised their love for each other. That was the... I can't remember the name. Palace, I think they had a place called Palace of Winds, and I swear that's a Zelda level Minish Cap or something as well. But yeah, it seems she went there, broke up with Wedge and realised that was her place, so she talks to Luke. And yeah, it's a shame because they were teasing Wedge with, what's her name? Iella, I think that's her name, Iella Wessery. But of course, Wedge had already begun that relationship in the Jedi Academy books, which were written earlier, so I guess Michael Stackpole couldn't do anything then. But yeah, he's with her now, which is a shame. It would have been nice, because I did like this new character, but oh well, these happen. At least we got a bit of confirmation where she is, and she's somewhere made her happy. I guess Kip's memory wipe, just there's no real recovering from it like she'd have liked to, but yeah, it was good to get a mention to her. And of course, the Imperial Remnant showed up. Obviously, they're not planning to try and conquer the New Republic, or I'm sure there were a couple of guys in that stupid enough to believe that's possible, but nope, Leia showed up because she knew that they needed to know the danger. See, the Imperial Remnant are on like pretty much in the outer rim, closest worlds to being attacked by the Yuuzhan Vong. And yeah, Admiral Gilad Pelion, you know, he's still in charge. Yeah, he's the undisputed leader of the Remnant. He listened to Leia, and then yeah, they threw their help in later, which was absolutely great. Chiss warriors showed up, and of course the Chiss in the Hand of Thrawn Duology, there's a line they said about how what's outside this galaxy would make your skin crawl, and yeah, that's the Yuuzhan Vong. And of course they're experts. They show up and completely destroy them, because they're the only ones truly used to fighting the Yuuzhan Vong. Yeah, so that's pretty much how it starts. The Yuuzhan Vong still taking planets. You know, they're clearly very dangerous. Leia goes off to gets help, warns the Empire. They're happy to help because they know they're going to die if they don't do anything once the Yuuzhan Vong show up. And yeah, it pretty much leads to another big battle, planet Ithor. There's a huge amount of value in that planet. It's a pacifist planet, but unlike, say, well, I won't give examples because of spoilers, but effectively, the people aren't idiots. They know that you've got to defend yourself, and they do. That's effectively the source of the big battle. So just getting there first. Let's see, you've just got to go through what all the characters are up to. So Jaina still in Rogue Squadron, which is great. That's her place. Jason, again, still he's unhappy. He can't find his place in the galaxy. He eventually accepts he's looking way too far into the future. Hey, Quill. Well, geez, Quill trying to destroy my Star Wars books. Again, destroy the .2 library book. It's hardback. You won't get through it. But yeah, Jason just sitting there, I can't see his role in the future. He accepts he's just got to rely on the present and not the future. It's very much old Star Wars logic coming back. You know, originally Luke was too obsessed with the future. Yoda told him to think about the present. Then we got the prequels where it's pretty much the exact opposite. Jedi were so obsessed with the future they couldn't really. They were blind to the dangers of the present. You know, Qui-Gon, you know, didn't care that there was darkness in Anakin's future. He was going to train him anyway, and of course everyone knows Qui-Gon, if he'd lived, there's no way Anakin would turn to the dark side. You know, he wouldn't have done any friendship with Palpatine. You know, Qui-Gon was really the father figure he needed, not Obi-Wan. You know, as Obi-Wan, but he was way too young. I imagine Anakin had some basic Jedi training from Yoda for a year or two before Obi-Wan took him as his apprentice, but yeah, we all know how that happened, and that seems to be Jason's problem. He's like obsessed with his future, that ultimately he doesn't like the path he's ended up on. Doesn't think the Jedi should be true warriors. He thinks effectively peacekeepers, yeah, helping innocents without becoming like soldiers. So yeah, it's makes you wonder what his future will be like. Anakin, again, like the last book, he's completely committed, no issue whatsoever there. And yeah, you got your other Jedi, you got Coven Horn, you know, again, major part of this, the There's a Yuzhan Vong who wants some payback because Corran killed 2 of them before, sworn his revenge. So he has to face Corran later, which was great fun. And so yeah, like I said, Leia's off here getting help from the Empire. Han is still gone, much like part 1. He's just totally lost it, can't cope with Chewbacca's death, and is just drowning his sorrows all the time. Next book, I believe that Han will be a major part of it. That is... yeah, Agents of Chaos Part 1. I just read the back once I finished this book, and basically just Han talking about he's got to, like, get involved now, so that should be fun. Shame he's been out of this, but yeah, much like before, you got Jedi in teams. Jason is off with Corran and Ganna. Anakin is with Mara and a Twilight Jedi who doesn't really turn to dark side, but absolutely, much like Kip did when he got on the Sun Crusher and killed billions in order to, you know, get what he thought was justice. She's quite keen to do that as well. Deshara Kaur, her name is. Yeah, she's a good character, love interest, perhaps. I mean, they were saying that with Jason, with the woman who's now helping Leia, her aide, Dani, but she thought she was too old. But yeah, unfortunately, she died. Not Dani, Deshara Kaur, you know, Anakin helps her, but it's not enough. You know, Mara's completely recovered, which is great. It seems, you know, focusing on the Force is helping fight this virus completely, so hope for her. But yeah, effectively, it all ends up in a big battle over Ithor, and the planet seems to have this natural, like, defense, and it kills the Yuzhan Vong. You know, their bodily armor, the armor they wear to protect them doesn't. It attacks them, yeah, and Yuzhan Vong pretty much all die if they stay there. That one who won revenge on Corran faces Corran, and Corran kills him. I love his tricks with his lightsaber. One, it's to do the old extend it twice the length, which he used to kill one of the Yuzhan Vong before. And this time, as he's like beaten, and the Yuzhan Vong brings his his staff down on Corran's like weapon to knock it aside, he just switches the saber off, which causes the Yuzhan Vong's aim to get completely messed up, and then bam, Corran lightsabers him through the stomach, and he wins. But unfortunately, a great victory, as much as can be. They save all these innocents. It's far better than on Dantooine when it was a complete bloodbath. But the Yuzhan Vong get their revenge. They nuke the planet. You know, Admiral from the Empire, Pelon, he and Admiral Kreefree, you know, work together. They get their payback, destroy destroy a mothership with the Yuzhan Vong on, with the guy who would have replaced the one that Corran killed. Completely destroys them, but the planet's in ruins. Once their mothership crashes down, that's just like the final blow. So yeah, the Yuzhan Vong just destroy that planet, not helped by the New Republic destroying their main mothership. And Corran Horn unfortunately gets all the blame. He's like, his actions fight to defend the planet, success, but Yuzhan Vong don't give up. And yeah, when the Republic and Empire finish off their enemies, it just causes more damage, and yeah, the world's completely gone. Yeah, Corran is pretty much forced to resign from the military and the Jedi Order. You know, despite what he's done, you know, all the other Jedi accept it. Jason is the biggest problem. He's fuming that Corran has basically got to be the scapegoat for that defeat, as it's seen as. And who knows what's going to happen next. Again, I have a bad feeling about this. I don't think Jason is going to stick around in the Jedi Order. Whether he, like, I can't see that he'd turn to the dark side. I mean, unless it's like he does what Kip does, turns evil, looking for a way to stop Yuzhan Vong, like dark side force powers, looking for weapons, etc. I don't know, but it looks like he's just not happy with his place in the Jedi Order. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it, because it'd be way too obvious if Luke had a child, that child turns to the dark side. It's much more likely to be Han and Leia's, kind of like in the Disney trilogy, but who knows? I just can't see Jason turns to the dark side. It'll make much sense, but unless reasons happen later, it all becomes clear. We'll see. It seems likely Jason is going to walk around the Jedi Order at one point. He just clearly does not like what it's becoming, but we'll see. And yeah, it's looking interesting. So overall, yeah, we like this book. You know, real major Yuzhan Vong warriors all dead, although the first one from Vector Prime, he's still around. Nom Anor, I guess he'll be taking over their military. But of course, I mean, the two major commanders have maybe been killed in this book, but plenty more out there. Again, my only concern is this is book 3 of 19. How is this going to sustain 19 books? I don't know how much time is going to pass. I don't know if Yuuzhan Vong are effectively going to retreat. Like, there was a really cool book from the book series I loved, and was Farthing Wood. Anyone's read them? Great. And effectively, I won't go into details, but the villains in one of the books disappear. They invade, realise their enemies onto them, vanish. They just leave, and then sometime later they come back with much bigger numbers, and it all completely goes to hell for like the good guys. And I just wonder if the Yuuzhan Vong will do something similar, just retreat, like tactical retreat. So, you know, the New Republic think they're gone, and then they're just biding their time. But I don't know. I mean, are we gonna, if the Han Solo one that's next is kind of during the maybe during the time of these first two books? Okay, great. Or it could be set after. I mean, I don't know how much time is going to pass in these. I can't imagine any more than a year or two, but it might be much, much more. Maybe there's like plenty of other stuff. I mean, what's Wedge been up to before this book? Is there a whole story that could be told, like, rather than just him mentioning, you know, I've retired, got married, and that's it? No, I mean, there's a lot of possibilities. Star Wars, Luke has, well, now there's a few dead, but he had before there's 100 Jedi in his academy, so there's that. There's all sorts they could tell. So yeah, I guess there could be 19, but it makes me wonder. And I heard there are some problems with this book. I don't know if that book series, I don't know if it's just that there's so much. There was going to be some bad, some stories aren't really worth bothering with, some stories they didn't need to be told. Who knows? Yeah, it should be interesting. I look forward to seeing it. And if there's, I'm not blind. With that many books, there's going to be one or two, a few weaker ones along with the greats. It's going to happen, but we'll see. So yeah, that's pretty much. So yeah, great books overall. Again, no, I'm not bothered that you could argue no major characters on the good guy's side have died since Chewbacca in the first one, but that's only the third book, and you know, so you can't just kill every single major character in one. It's going to be the supporting ones. Like, there's a bit when Jaina's wing woman, she's killed, and Jaina feels the loss hard because it's one of her friends. You know, there's only so many of those characters that you can really wipe out as well. I'm dreading it when, say, I don't know, if, so I don't know any of this whatsoever, what happened, but if, say, I don't know, Wedge, Lando, Mara, Luke, Han, Leia, those three guaranteed to live for like the whole thing? I don't know. I'm assuming Luke's going to survive this, because I heard like he gets some mad power levels and that's got to surely give him life for the whole thing. But there's other books as well. I mean, Luke and Leia are in their 40s, same for like Wedge and Corran. Well, I imagine Wedge is older than that actually, because he was clearly older than Luke. He's probably more, I'd say Wedge is probably in his 50s actually. Pardon, yeah, based on the actors, you know, what they look like in the films. Yeah, I always imagine if Luke and Leia are 19 in A New Hope, you know, Han's probably early 30s, maybe late 20s, but it could just be Harrison Ford's age. He just looks a bit older, but I just imagine Han would be a lot older than the other characters. So yeah, that makes him a bit older too, but who knows? I mean, you know, Chewbacca is not going to be the only major character killed in this series. It's going to happen again and again. We'll see. And I'm looking forward to it. Good book series so far. I'm not feeling like, you know, I'm getting bored or anything. You know, obviously each book has its like pluses and minuses. There's, you know, the battles though, absolutely loving them. Whether it's Luke, Jason, Anakin hacking up those reptile creatures in Dark Tide 1. That's great. Or, you know, Corran dueling the Yuuzhan Vong warriors and winning using his tricks. Him and Mara practicing each other. No, Michael Stackpole's actually really good at describing the fight, because he described the amazing space battles in Rogue Squadron, but he didn't really do land battles at any point. And yeah, they've done a good job describing all them. So yeah, I'm enjoying it. No problems at all with this series, and look forward to the next one. Okay, so that's it. And maybe the next one I'll actually be in my room where you can see everything. Like my latest Pop Fungo, bought a Jon Snow one. I loved Game of Thrones when it started, not so much when it ended. But yeah, I do love the Pop Fungos, and I actually set up, again, I'll put this into another video at some point, but I actually set up a War of the Five Kings. Me and my wife combined actually had most of them, like one to represent it. So Stannis Baratheon is obviously the one true king. No denying that whatsoever, unless like maybe if you're a diehard Daenerys fan and think she is the rightful ruler because of her family history, but going by the rules of conquest, it's Stannis as the brother of the king. So yeah, Stannis Baratheon, you know, man, he's better. I don't believe what happened to him in the show is what's going to happen in the book. It may happen in similar circumstances, but no way will that be the same. But anyway, going off topic, but yeah, I had the Stannis Pop Funko for ages. Bought my wife, not after I met her, the Brienne one, because Brienne was awesome. Great in the book, till she was a complete psycho in the show. Still love some of the stuff, but yeah, they ever do some questionable things with no punishment, which is not great. No punishment, no consequences. Let's just say that's a well-known part of Game of Thrones' later problems. Anyway, I need to turn this into a new video at one point, but yeah, so she had the Brienne one. Gemma, she collects Pop Fungos, orders them every month, so she got a Tyrion one at some point, so that's great, that's 3. In the Season 8 range, they had a Theon. He finally got a Pop Fungo, one with the arrow, with the flaming arrow and his bow, so I ordered that, and then I realised when we moved into this house, didn't have anything to represent the Northern Army whatsoever. I mean, I bought the Ghost Pop Fungo ages ago, and he was never part of that army in the first place. Yeah, Jon never joined Rob's army, so that doesn't count. But recently I bought myself a Jon Snow one, was in Menkind in Milton Keynes shops, dirt cheap, bunch of them regular £12, and loads were sale for 8, so I bought that. But again, Jon is not really part of that. But last year when we moved, picked up a Robb Stark one. Very difficult to find them. You know, if you're a Pop Fungo fan, buy them quickly, because like once they go out of print, not easy to get them again. But yeah, got Robb Stark, got Theon obviously representing his dad, the worst of the kings, just because Balon Greyjoy absolutely had no hope of it, carving his empire for himself. Tyrion representing Joffrey, again, neither of them. Joffrey is no true king, and Tyrion proved to be a terrible hand of the king, but he represents that side anyway. Robb Stark, I had to buy that one for myself because I didn't have him, but yeah, it's a good one. And of course, then you got Stannis as well, representing the Baratheon side. And then I bought the Daenerys and Jorah one from Season 8. I hated Season 8 and The Long Night. What Daenerys actually picking up a weapon and fighting was great, because Daenerys has always been someone who's willing to fight. You know, she is not a wimp. She won't just be like Varys and just hide in a corner. She actually fights to protect herself. And yeah, her and Jorah fighting together is just the coolest thing of all. So yeah, that goes quite nicely in the in my shelf, but that's not even in my room. I should move that up somewhere. But yeah, so that's the end. Sorry to ramble on about Game of Thrones. Who knows, probably Walking Dead next time, so when that comes back. I really should just do a new set of videos for each one. Again, I've not got a PC, I can't really edit this, so kind of for a while what you see is what you get, and no, that's good. It'll be a nice learning experience. So in a few years, if this channel really takes off or not, you know, I'm still enjoying making these videos, and I can look back at, you know, how it all began. But yeah, so that's it anyway. New Jedi Order come on quite nicely. I'm just having a bit of a breather between books. I generally rotate between one before moving on to another one. It's just, I could burn myself out. Same with TV shows. Like, for example, currently watching Angel Series 2, Buffy Series 5, and once those are done, barring weekly shows anyway, like when Moon Knight starts in March, when Walking Dead comes back, barring weekly, the Bradley and Barney Walsh show. But yeah, once I'm done with one show, I move to the other one and then come back after that. Bad Girls is still on the list, for example. Made on Netflix, my mum recommended. Everyone knows how great that is. That would be after Buffy, Angel, and then I'd go back. And the same thing with these books, really. Once Dark Tide 2 Ruin is done, I've got Agents Chaos 1 Hero's Trial ready to go, but don't really fancy jumping into that right away. Plus, I've got some of my books, got a bunch of Doctor Who ones from the library. It's for bad quality, but Autonomy, it's clearly about the Autons, which would be awesome. Great villains, none of they've never been too overused by Doctor Who. Picked up a Demon Headmaster book, loved that show when I was younger. So I got all of them, but yeah, I don't want to burn myself out on these. On these Star Wars books. They're best have a bit of a breather between them. Don't get bored of them or anything that way. But yeah, I'll eventually come back to that, but not for a while. I've still got some Bond books too. But yeah, until next time, see you later.